New York judge puts a stay on Trump's anti-Muslim travel ban.
After a month of shortages, repairs are due to begin at the Ain al-Fija spring, the main water source for Damascus.
Martin Schulz is chosen as the SPD's candidate to challenge Angela Merkel in upcoming elections to become Germany's Chancellor.
Socialist Party members in France are choosing their candidate to run in the country's upcoming presidential election.
Donald Trump's executive order banning travel to the US from 7 majority Muslim countries is in tatters after the American Civil Liberties Union won a class action lawsuit after 2 Iraqis were detained at JFK Airport. The pair, with links to the US military, were legally allowed to enter America, but were detained by customs officials at JFK.
I support the US government from the other side of the war, but when I came here they said no, and they treat me as I break the rules or do something wrong. I surprised, really I surprised.
Protesters occupied the airport after Trump signed the executive order banning travel to the United States for nationals from Syria, Iran, Iraq, Yemen, Sudan, Somalia and Libya for the next 90 days. All are Muslim countries where Trump has no business interests.
Foreign terrorist entry into the United States. It's big stuff.
Iran's Foreign Minister Javad Zarif has blasted Donald Trump's travel ban on nationals from 7 majority Muslim countries. Taking to Twitter, Zarif said the US president's action was a great gift to extremists. Zarif's condemnation followed a move by Tehran to take reciprocal measures against US passport holders seeking Iranian visas. Iran's parliament speaker Ali Laranjani also slammed Washington's move. This reveals the fear of this US administration, he said. It's afraid of its own shadow. It's also exposed their brutal racist manner hidden behind their demagogic veneer which pretends to be pro-democracy and pro-human rights. It's estimated Iranians could make up nearly half of all the US visa holders coming from the 7 countries covered by the ban. The United States is home to more than 1 million Iranians.
The US Embassy in Tel Aviv. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has caused fresh controversy by saying he agrees with the Trump administration's suggestion it be moved to Jerusalem. The city is Israel's self-proclaimed capital, but wanted by Palestinians. I want to take the opportunity to make it clear that our position has always been and remains so now and at all times that the US Embassy should be here in Jerusalem. Jerusalem is Israel's capital, and it's right and proper that all of the foreign embassies and not only the American embassy move here. There's also controversy over a tweet Netanyahu sent in support of Trump's plan to build a wall along the US border with Mexico. In it, Netanyahu refers to a steel fence Israel has built along its border with Egypt as a success. The barrier is meant to keep out migrants fleeing conflicts in Africa, including Somalis, Sudanese and Eritreans.
At least 1 American soldier has been killed and 3 others wounded during a raid against an al-Qaeda stronghold in central Yemen. The US military says 14 al-Qaeda militants are reported to have died in the assault. Local Yemeni security officials say dozens of other people, including civilians, were killed. Several Apache helicopters are believed to have taken part in the commando operation.
This is the Ain al-Fija spring. It's the main water source for Damascus. Maintenance workers are due to start repairing the damage caused by the fighting between rebels and government forces here. Syrian government forces reportedly took back control of the area after reaching a deal for rebel fighters to withdraw. We will camp here day and night, he says, so we can get the water running the way it was. With God's will, the first water will reach homes in a couple of hours. A Syrian flag has reportedly been raised over the water station at Wadi Barada, and the army has secured control of the village. It's reportedly been retaken due to a deal with insurgents, arranging for rebels to leave the area. More than 5 million people have been affected by water shortages since December.
In Germany, the centre-left SPD has chosen Martin Schulz as its candidate in the battle to become the country's next chancellor. The former European Parliament president was unanimously chosen by the party's executive committee to run against Angela Merkel. Schulz will take over from current leader Sigmar Gabriel in March. He stepped down last week, saying Schulz had a better chance in the September vote. Accepting the nomination in front of supporters, Schulz declared, "Social democracy is about being fair to each other, hand in hand, side by side. In order to have the best for our country, we're seeking practical solutions for our people." What a big difference that makes to the Conservatives' non-stop tiring arguments.
Zu den endlosen und ermüdenden Streitereien bei den Konservativen.
But Europhile Schulz, who has stated he wants the harshest Brexit possible for Britain, faces an uphill task if he's to topple Merkel. Latest polls put the SPD well behind Merkel's Conservatives.
Socialist Party members in France are choosing their candidate to run in the country's upcoming presidential election. Sunday's runoff primary vote pits pro-business ex-Premier Manuel Valls against hard-left lawmaker Benoît Hamon. Hamon is tipped to beat Valls, who insists he will be the winner. That's why I campaigned, he says, a campaign to win. But it's Sunday. You have to respect the choice, the vote of the electorate. Everything is possible. I've tried to sketch out a future that's appealing, he says. We'll see if it brings people together, if the turnout's better than last Sunday's vote, if it gives me a solid legitimacy. This style of party vote produces the most solid legitimacy you can ask for. The Socialists are currently predicted to come in fifth in the presidential first round, behind centrist Emmanuel Macron and left-winger Jean-Luc Mélenchon. Even so, analysts say the winner of Sunday's vote could play a crucial role in determining the fortunes of other candidates.
Supporters of the far-right Golden Dawn have taken to the streets of the Greek capital, Athens, in an anti-immigration protest. Marchers expressed fury at the number of migrants remaining in Greece since the closure of the Balkan route into Europe.
Our country is an open field. Everyone can come whenever they want and they can leave whenever they want. We would like to follow a policy like Donald Trump is doing in the States right now.
A counter-anti-fascist march took place at the same time in another part of the city. Police say both groups were kept well apart and clashes were avoided.
At least 11 people are now known to have died in Chile, following wildfires which have been described as the worst in the country's history. Many of those killed are firefighters, battling more than 100 separate fires. Half are still out of control, according to the government. Fanned by strong winds, searing temperatures and a prolonged drought, the fast-spreading fires in Chile's central and southern regions have forced thousands from their homes. One town, St. Olga, has been completely destroyed. More than 4,000 firefighters have been working to douse the flames. International aid has also been pouring in. The burn area, now estimated to be around twice the size of Luxembourg, is said to have doubled in size over the last 2 or 3 days alone.
Coca leaf producers in Colombia have marched against the government's new crop substitution program, part of the peace deal with the FARC rebel group. The government has announced that swathes of coca leaf plantations, the raw material for cocaine, are to be eradicated this year. The farmers want authorities to respect their livelihood and make realistic policy proposals. Coca production takes place in isolated areas with simple people who are good workers. Rural communities haven't found an alternative to cultivating coca because if they cultivate other products, they'll lose money, and they don't find profitability in the legal products that the government is talking about. The coca leaf was declared an illegal narcotic in the 1961 UN Single Convention on Narcotic Drugs, along with cocaine, heroin, opium and morphine, and a host of chemical drugs.